All right, everybody. I've got another very special guest for y'all this week. Returning guest, Mr. Mark Maia. Welcome back, Mark.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. It's great to be on the show.
It's always a pleasure chatting with you. So, man, how's things been? It's been a while since you've been on, and
Yeah, I did. I've done I believe it's pronounced piss poor job of letting people know that this Kickstarter is up because I just had a newborn, and that whole deal, which is great, threw me back on my Kickstarters because I was supposed to have two Kickstarters this year, like I did last year. Where I had one last year. I had a Kickstarter for books 1 and 2, and then a Kickstarter for books 3 and 4. So it was like one in May and then one in October. And I was going to do the same thing this year, but then my wife is pregnant. We were getting ready for the baby. Then we had the baby, and that threw the whole schedule for the Kickstarters like right out the window. So we decided to put books 5 through 8, so all four in October, and just launch it once because it was important to me to get this wrapped up this year. Because I'm very much like I told myself I would do this, and even though those circumstances like having my baby, to me it's like if I say I'm going to do something, I need to do it, and if I don't do it, I feel like I'm cheating myself or cheating people, and I hate that feeling. So yeah, it's been crazy, but that's why I didn't really reach out to you until like last minute because I was like I don't know what's going on. I was fortunate enough that I had some channels reach out to me, and they were like, "Hey, saw you doing Kickstarter. Do you want to come on the show?" I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, sure, sure," because I haven't had a chance to reach out to anybody. And one time I took the time in a car I was like, "Oh, maybe I'll send some emails and see if I can see if I can get on some podcasts." And the first two emails I sent were both two people that quit for like the same reason. They both quit their podcast because they were getting so much hate and anger comments, and they couldn't deal with it. And as a guy that has a YouTube channel, I get it. Uh,
mhm.
and you just can't give those people any steam, man. You just got to be like, that's their opinion. You know what I mean? Like, the people can be mean, but also people can be. I say I'm lucky that on my YouTube channel that I have a good fan base where they either come into my defense or they're very positive, and some of them have jumped over because my YouTube channel's board game. Some of them jumped over to like comic books,
Mhm.
but not many. So I don't promote on my comic book channel because like I think the large majority of them have no interest. Like I think I'm close to 18,000 on my YouTube channel, and I think about four of them are interested in comic books. so so yeah.
It's funny. I think I'm right on that bubble where I don't get hate, but like I still am able to like do this and have people on, and people seem to want to come on because I have somewhat of an audience. So I think I'm at that perfect level right now where I don't have to deal with that. And- but I'm
Yeah.
with you. Like, yeah, you just it's something I talk about with people on like any social media where they're like, oh, there's all this hate and anger and everything. I'm like, I don't know, guys. Like, I don't see it.
I
I
remember
maybe I've just like put things in the right place where it doesn't need to happen, or I just ignore it. But
once you start getting the hate, then you know what you got to tell yourself. You got to smile and be like, I've made it.
yeah,
I've made it. I've made it to that point where people just started to hate me. I remember my first two negative comments. It was one. I can't remember which order they came in. One said, referred to me as a cancer. They said, "You, sir, are a cancer," and blah blah. He went off. I just remember that one line, and I remember responding to him because he started off with that and he started railing on me for some reason, and then I remember my response. I was like, "Well, I said something. Well, thank you for your opinion, but unlike cancer, you can." You can just watch a different channel. You can just turn me off. Like, why are you here? So, and another one was some guy that just hated I had a negative review for a board game, and they just hated it. They hated that I hated it, and they were so angry that I hated their beloved game. And I get it's a popular game, and I thought I was gonna like it, but then I had a lot of gripes. And then some guy came came to my defense, and it wasn't even defense of like my opinion. He was like in defense of, this is his channel and his opinion. He could pretty much, he could say whatever he wants. He's entitled to his own opinion. If you don't agree with it, that's fine. But you can't come on here and say you're wrong, and you're not arguing an opinion. You're just saying how wrong I am with mine. Some guy was defending it, was like, it's his opinion. You can't, his opinion's not wrong. It's his opinion. So, anyways.
Never got that. Like, dude, I can't stand Fortnite. It's the biggest thing on the planet. Like, what does my opinion matter on that thing? Like, if you like it. Dude, there was an ongoing joke for a while where I'm the one guy on the planet that likes the movie The Spirit. I'm that guy. Everybody else hates it. Like,
that was the one with, was that the one with Samuel L. Jackson in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that once and I've erased it from memory. Like I can't
exactly,
because that came out after Sin City. Yeah.
It's so funny because like that's what everybody says. Like, it's the worst movie ever. Blah blah blah. I don't care. I enjoyed it. I like it. I throw it on once in a while. I think it's a fun movie. So what does anyone else's opinion matter on that? And why would I get mad that you didn't like it? Like,
yeah,
I'm sure if we went down the list, I'm going to find things that you like that I don't like too.
Yeah,
like
it doesn't matter. It's like it can bring up some interesting conversations. Like I get into things with my friends who are like, they don't like this. I was like, you're an idiot, but you know, we're just joking around. We're not really. It's just it's more as just going back and forth about how we tell each other how we're wrong about our opinions. We're just two friends, like Josh. We're not actually angry with each other. So it's
dude, one of my close friends, he runs our local comic shop, and him and I are both big sports fans, specifically football fans. And every week when I go in, it's, you know, Wednesday before his rush comes in, I come in and we'll talk for a little while. And dude, we've gotten like screaming at each other, debates over it. But you know what? Like 5 minutes later, it's like, all right, man, have a good one. I'll see you next week.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I am. But I rarely have. I rarely get to the point. I get them. I've gotten my friends like irate.
Yeah.
But there is definitely, if you say the right thing, then I'll go off. Like it's just, you know, then I'll go off. But mostly I'm pretty calm, and I just ask them. I was like, well, why? Like even if I agree with them, but they don't know, I stay pretty much like stone faced. You know, I got my poker face on, so they don't know where I stand on the issue, and I'll just ask questions about the beginning, and they think I'm arguing. I was like, well, why do you think this? And why? He's like, don't you think this is a possibility? And then they just start railing. He was like, no, Bubba, you don't know what you're talking about. I was like, I'm just asking questions. You're really arguing.
You're just the asking questions guy, I see.
You're really just arguing with yourself.
So with newborn and everything, are you still doing the Board Games and Coffee channel?
So Board Game Coffee I've put on hold this year. So I've done like five episodes or something like that this year. And I've had a lot of requests because most of the videos I do are, a lot of them are work for hire, which is like, can you teach people how to play our game? Or can you preview our game? I don't do reviews for pay. That's just dirty. So I don't do reviews for pay, but I will do previews for pay. And that's all. I don't give really an opinion. I just describe what the game's about and talk about these things. There was one I did a preview for that I really enjoyed the game, and it was for, I think it was Power Rangers, the deck building game. And I had this joke in it because I do skits in mine. I had this joke where I kept getting into a review, and my wife would keep coming on because she argues with me from behind camera, and she would come on being like, this isn't a review, like, keep your opinions to yourself. And I was like, okay. So but anyways, yeah, I pulled back on that a lot because of the newborn, and because like I need to finish this comic and this Kickstarter. It was mostly the Kickstarter, not so much the comic, because the pages fell back a bit, because even though Marco is the one drawing them, I'm the one directing the flow of the comic and the panels. And so while Marco was drawing and I'm putting together this Kickstarter page, and I started using like placeholder like covers, like literally covers that was just like white blocks that said issue 1, issue 2, issue 3, and I was putting together my Kickstarter page. And then I'm like, this Kickstarter is going to launch in like a month, and I have, or just over a month, and I have no covers. So I called Marco, and I was like, Marco, I need you to stop drawing pages. They stop drawing pages, draw covers. So I was like, I need covers before I need pages. And Marco was like, I don't even know what happens in book 7 and 8. Because I was like, I haven't read those scripts. And And I was like, all right, well, it's like, I need you, I'll tell you what to put on the cover exactly. Don't worry about it. And I'll give you more details. And you're probably going to have questions of like, why does it look like Nick's missing an eye in the cover of issue 8? So I was like, don't worry about it. just go, just go with it. And, because like the scripts are done. So I know why everything's happening. So I was telling him, giving the covers, and then I reached out to all my, like all the guest artists, and I was like, okay, so I didn't realize, it didn't even occur to me that I needed these covers fast. Everybody was like, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. Marco's still drawing pages. We'll wait till those be done before you draw the covers. I was like, no, I need those covers now. So basically I rushed. So I have all the covers done, and now Marco's back to drawing pages. So I got my guest artists, I got Marco's pages, I got all that done. But yeah, I know you. The question was, have I pulled back on the Working Coffee channel? I went off on rails, but yeah. So I've pulled off on that to focus on the comic book and the baby, so I can have time to be with him. But also because of that, it got in the way of me also promoting the Kickstarter. So I say get in the way sounds like a negative thing because I love my son. He's awesome, but so it's not getting. But he does. They do demand a certain chunk of your time.
A little bit,
So,
yeah.
and it's actually a little harder that I have a 4-year-old as well, because he's very demanding of the time. Other time he's like, Daddy, like, where are you? Daddy, can you play with me? Daddy, can you do this? Daddy, can you do that? Before, when it was just one of them, my wife would take him, and he's just a baby. He just cries. He feeds. He doesn't have any demands that specific of a specific person. He doesn't need Daddy. Want to play with me? Daddy, want to do this? Like, it's different when it was just the one. Now there's the two, and it's like the both. And they're at both the most demanding points. There's the I can talk and I just want everything, and I have all these questions and I want you to do things with me and I won't stop talking, blah 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 blah. And then there's the baby who's I just want to eat, so I'm gonna cry. I'm unhappy, so I'm gonna cry. So we got both of those going. And luckily, I have a wife that is excellent. She takes care of both of them when and my 4-year-old. He understands. He's getting better at understanding. I was like, Daddy's got to work. Daddy's got to go do this. You know what I mean? Like, you need help, Mommy. And he's like, okay.
Well, I was assumed, I've never worked from home or anything, but I got to assume that the whole work from home scenario there, where like Daddy's going to go in this room and work, and it's probably harder to understand for a child than like for me. If I had a child, it'd be like, Daddy's leaving for 10 hours and going away. He'll be back at the end of the day.
Well, he was always like, when he was at the age of like understanding that, he was always in daycare. So he'd go to daycare, and then he went to like preschool, and then now it's junior kindergarten. So he's been away from us during the day for a long time. So he's kind of used to that.
Okay.
But it's when it happens on the weekends or in the evenings, because like my day job is I design video games, and in the evening I had the YouTube channel, and I'm writing a comic book and putting together a Kickstarter page. So there's like a lot of stuff that I'm still doing. So that's why I'm trying to pull back a bit on that. So definitely once this Kickstarter is done, and even though now that the Kickstarter is going, you know what I mean, and it did all right. It funded in less than 10 minutes, which was great. I think we're over 400% our goal now, which is excellent. So it's doing good. It hasn't reached as many backers as like the previous Kickstarter, but that's fine because we still have a lot of time left to go. And I know most of my friends and family who backed have not backed yet. They've been, because they were like, oh, we'll wait for the weekend. Like, because I was like, okay, sure, wait for the weekend. So that's good then, because like by the time I get like, I probably know at least 6-7 people in my family that would normally back, and they haven't even backed it, and they're going to, like friends and family, because they're always, congratulations, yeah, we'll back, but they get sidetracked and they don't care about algorithms, and like, it's best if you back in the beginning. It looks better, but they don't get it. They're like, yeah, sure, whatever, because they're all older. They're all older too, and they're like,
yeah, they're not in that world.
I'm happy that there's that it backed, that like it funded so quickly, and then we had a lot of return guests that read the first issues and came back. And I was kind of, it was great because I actually got 2 messages from 2 people from Australia, because I forgot and didn't forget. At first, when I was putting out the shipping information, Shipping's gone up everywhere. So I was like, well, that sucks. I still managed to keep it lower than a lot of other indie comics. Maybe it's the service I'm using, I'm assuming. So like anywhere in the States, it used to be $12, and I was able to ship up to 6 books at that rate. But now anywhere in the States is $16, so it's $4 more. So, but it's not crazy. In Canada, it only went up for $1 because it was like, I think it was $10 originally. Now it's 11 or something like that. I don't remember, but yeah. So those weren't that bad. So, and even still in the States, now that it went up to 16, I can still do like, people can still get all 12 books and the collector's box and everything, and still fits in that 16. So it's still decently okay to, and that's 16. I say $16. That's Canadian. So in US, that's like 16 cents, I think. These are Canadian dollars, so crap. So, anyways, yeah. But when I started going to like Australia and like Portugal, and like the shipping was outrageous, because I don't know if you noticed on the Kickstarter page, there's a collector's box that I'm supplying now, and I'm getting it, and I want to give it for free to whoever gets any of the tiers. That way, if you've backed in the past, you still get a box, because you buy 4 books, you get the box, you put your books in there, and you have a nice little thing that sits on your shelf. And so I was doing calculating for U.S. and Canada. I was like, okay, so I think we can even send out 3 boxes if somebody gets the all in, because if they get the all in once, I'm assuming they have the all in from before, and then they'll have 3 boxes to put on their shelves, because one box holds the 8 books, whatever covers you got. But when I started calculating for Australia, it was like $120, $130 if I wanted to ship 3 boxes to Australia. And I was like, what? It jumped up like crazy amounts. Like, the Australia price already is like, I think it's $45 or something like that. And then if you ship like, if they get like the 12 books, so if they get more, it's like $68. And then if I added just 2 boxes, 2 empty boxes to that, it upped it to like over $120. And I'm like, what's going on with shipping? Like, I shipped to Australia last year, it wasn't so bad. And but certain parts of the world, it got nuts. So I actually took Australia off for a bit, because I was trying to figure out, because it actually was even higher than that. We were doing calculations and we're trying to figure out what's happening. And then all around the world, we started adding and noticing that the prices were crazy. So what we did was said, if you get the all in, you'll get 1 box. But anybody in North America will contact you if you get the all in and ask you if you want the additional 2. That way it's fair for everybody's going to get 1. If they don't respond, because I'll send an email. If they respond, they can get 2. But for the other countries, I'm not even offering that, because if it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's like you went from like $65 shipping already, which was, that's if you got the 12 books and a box. That's $65. And now if you get another box on it, you're paying like $100. So I was like, it's like, that doesn't add up. And I didn't want anybody to do that by accident. Not pay attention to shipping and just like just tap it, and then they're like, "Holy fuck, why is shipping $200?" You know what I mean? Because I kept adding things. So that's why I put more limits on everything for everybody, just so people wouldn't get it by accident. So if anybody really wanted, they'd reach out. But I did have 2 guys from Australia reach out, because I forgot to put Australia back on the list because they were so high, and people were like, "Hey, I'm back from Australia and I can't seem to back anymore because there's no Australian." I was like, "Oh, right, let me fix that." Though it's cool that I got 2 people from Australia that backed, and they came back and they sent messages being like, "Hey, we can't back your book and we want to." And that also woke me up to like, right, I forgot to turn that on as a feature. But we do ship to more places now than we ever did. We just decided to, like, we'll put the price on it if people want to go. Like, before, we picked the ones that were the cheapest to ship to, but now we just put everywhere. And like, we got Singapore and Italy and whatever, because we had somebody from Singapore last year that actually they reached out and they asked specifically, can I get the books shipped to Singapore? And we made we did a workaround. We're like, okay, just here, I gave them an address from Canada. I was like, here's the address from Canada, just enter that when Kickstarter asks, and then just add an additional like $20 or something, because I think that was the difference in shipping. So I was like, just do that and then we'll ship it to you, don't worry about it. So that's what we did. We just did a workaround. But now we're actually legit, so Singapore is now an option.
And just a quick aside there about the listing, Mark is in Canada, so even all those shipping issues he's talking about, it's not what we're dealing with in the United States with tariffs and all that stuff that I don't completely understand. that's just straight shipping has become such an issue across.
Yeah. So I'm Canadian. So all the numbers I mentioned, those are all Canadian dollars.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that because like most of the people I talk to are from the US. That's like our largest fan base is from the US actually.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 30. It's like right now, it's like for $32 for you get the physical tier where it's like you get books 5 through 8 and the 4 digitals and the collector's box for 32 Canadian, which is like, what is that, like 20 something?
It's $23.
It's $23. That's awesome.
That's unheard of, is what it is, man.
So
I've literally got to a point with Kickstarter where I stopped backing floppies and have become a trade waiter for this reason, because it's not an exaggeration to say that's the cost of one issue for a lot of Kickstarters now.
Yeah, I know. And I didn't like this trend because I want to stay competitive with like Marvel and DC as far as prices, right? But I don't print nearly on their scale, because at the scale they're printing, they're probably paying like what, 75 cents per book. Do you know what I mean? Because they're printing so much. So what we decided to do this time was like really commit to our own project, because we have faith in the book. Because I really enjoy the book. I think it's a good book, and I think if you read it, you'll enjoy it. So we just decided, we're just going to get a huge print run. And we'll use this Kickstarter to pay back as much as possible, and we'll make our money back in time. So we wanted to get a huge print run so we could lower the backing levels, and lower our cost of the print, lower the backing levels, and also wanted to throw in this collector's box. So we wanted to do all this. We wanted to really kind of give back to the fans that got us this far, and that's it. Like if I break even on the book, I'm actually happy. I want to get the book out there to people. So that's more important for me, is to get the story out there than anything, right? And it got to me to the point where everybody's giving this math when they go to shows, and they're like, we got a table, we pay for our table, we pay for our hotel, we pay for lunch, and they deduct that, and it's like, we're lucky if we break even. Then I got to ask, so I was like, at that point, why aren't you just giving your books away for free? You'll get them into more people's hands. You're not paying for the table. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's pretty much what you're doing now. Like, you're costing people money, but so it's like you can get your books into more people's hands if you gave them free at that point. That's a sad way to think, because I like the convention scene, right? Like, I like talking to people. I like doing that. So, it'd be nice if conventions lowered the price for tables a bit. That would be nice, especially for indie comics, because like I think they might have a diluted view of how much they think we make at the table, right?
I think with the con circuit, because the draw is the media guest. Like, love it, hate it, that's the draw. And what the consumer, me, the person going into the con as a fan, needs to understand is that we should be paying more for the ticket. Like, if you go to New York, it's expensive. If you go to San Diego, it's expensive. But you go to, I don't know, Terrificon is like a decently big con, but not New York. I'm pretty sure the tickets are $30 to $40 a day. I could be wrong. It's been a minute since I've been to a con. Mm-hmm. Like, the idea that we're not spending more than that to go in and do our thing, and then it's a juggle, because then if let's say I spend $60 a ticket, well, that's less money I have to spend on your book when I see you there. I get that juggle, but that's tough. I've tried the economics of Comic-Con to see if I could bring one local, and it's too much for me personally, man.
Yeah, it's a lot. Brittany, she has all these. That's my wife. She has these ideas of like, maybe we should try opening like a small con, and just focus on comic books and not have it like a comic books, like a comic book con for comics, and not just doodads, because that's what so many of the comics are, right? There's so many little like stuffies and buttons, and which is fine. A lot of people make those things, but there's and knitted purses. But I was like, I miss the days where I go to comic cons full of comics. And it seems like now you go to a Comic Con, and the tables that are doing the best are the ones that have like, you can get a pin for $3, or you can get stickers, or you can get bookmarks with cute little cats on them, and that seems that the majority of what sells is knickknacks. So
Yeah, which I mean, I'm of a different breed. Like I bleed comics, so I never got that. I mean, I'll buy a few prints from artists there this year doing cool stuff, but even that, I'm like, you see the guy that just has 1,000 prints behind him. He's like, "This is all I do," and I'm like, "That's cool," but this guy has a book out. I like that seems interesting. I think I'd rather spend my money there personally, but
yeah, like when I go to Comic Cons, I buy comic related things.
yeah,
If I buy a knickknack, it's a gift to bring back for my son, right? Or every con, actually, I buy one pin every con so I can add it to my bag. So my bag, I have a backpack that I always bring with me. So every con, I always get one pin or something as like a just a memento from that con. So I just
hmm
pin it on there. So I do, but I don't go looking for knickknacks. It's just something I like talking to the people that create comics, and because I love going as a fan still. So
yeah,
Toronto Comic Con and Fan Expo, I still go like Fan Expo Toronto. I still go as a fan. I've never had a table at those cons, and I don't know if I want one. Like I do want one, but I don't want to pay the prices because they're charging more and more for like Artist Alley and comics, and I was like, I don't. I don't want one if I'm just hoping to break even. And good thing is like even though I live in London, Ontario now, I'm from Toronto, so I have a lot of family that stays there, so I don't need a hotel. I just stay at my mom's house, right, or my
yeah,
sister's house. Like I have a large family in Toronto, so I always have places to stay. It's not a big deal. So I could like have a table and do decently because I don't have that overhead of like you have to place to stay. You know, I don't have to worry about the hotel. So it could be good in that way, but I guess it's always nervous because like it's hard to get noticed in the indie space when there's so much competition, right? Like when people, I feel confident when people read the book, they're like, hey, this stands out because it's a good read. But you have to get people to read the book, and that's hard because, and I get it, you have to build this kind of like trust with the community, right? They have to believe that you have something that's decent to offer. And if you're a nobody, like I'm a nobody in the comic book industry, right? I mean, I just started with so-called living, and I'm just trying to make a name for myself. So it's, I don't know, it's tricky, but I love doing it. I
yeah,
love return fans. So
yeah. And then you get down the line, you're about to end at least the first volume of the series. I don't know if you plan on doing more or not, but you're about to end it. And what really I think is the turning point for a lot of comic creators in the indie space is hopefully the next campaign, and for you, whether it's a new series or whatnot, but could be a trade. Then you've got this thing that you can throw in front of people and be like, see, not only did I do 3 successful Kickstarters, now did I make a book that I'm really proud of, but here it is done. Like you can read it front to back, the whole story.
yeah, and that's exactly what I've noticed because I'm very much a study of my environment, right? So whenever I got into anything, before I got into writing comic books, I did a lot of studies like, okay, what's the proper way to write a comic book? How do I find artists? I did the studies on that. How do I do a Kickstarter page? I read, I watched videos, I looked at pages, successful pages. I did like, I do my homework before I dive into things. And I think that's part of my, video game designer mentality. Like when I go to design a game, I play all the games that are like it, right? And I check out reviews. What do reviewers like about this? What they don't? How can we improve? What can we do this? And so what I did for this. And I'm always doing that. Even when I go to the con, I'm like, why are people buying it? Why aren't they buying it? What tables are they buying? What do they like? I'm like observing this. I talk to other indies. It's like, hey, what's your bestseller? What are you doing? What's selling good here? How you guys doing? And listening to all this, a lot of it is more, unfortunately, it's like I think unfortunately for a lot of people, the dollar has gotten in the way of their enjoyment of the creation of comics, where you get a lot of indie guys and they're like, how you doing? And some guys are like, yeah, it's good. But the majority, not just indie, even guys that are like pros that are out there on the tables selling their books, but they're getting Oscar autographs, but nobody's buying anything at their table. And they're like, it's all right, man. I was like, don't get into this for the money. It's always this and I was like, I don't want to be that person. Like, I don't want to be that person. And I don't think I ever will be, personally. Yeah, I can be realistic and be like, don't come in here planning to be rich. Like, you got to do this for the love of it. You got to be true to yourself. You got to really understand what you're doing. And that's what I'm doing it for. Is, yeah, I'd love to obviously make money. Like, everybody would love to make money on the thing they love. Like, it would be awesome if the thing you create, other people love too, and then you get paid for it, so you can do more of it and continue doing things you love. That's great, right? Because as much as, like, I hate money, we all need it, right? Like, so like, I want it because so I can create things. Now, I want it for the freedom. I don't want it for the number in my bank account. Do you know what I mean? I don't care to tell people like I'm a millionaire. Like, I'm not, but like, I don't care to tell people that. I just want that freedom to do things. So when I go to cons and I see what people are buying, trades, like what you said, yeah, that's what I'm going to do next. Is next story I do, it'll be a brand new story and it'll be all in the trade. So it'll be like 8 issues worth in one book. And that's the next thing. That'll be the next, probably not the next thing I do. I got one plan in between that and this finishing up this chapter. But yeah, this is going to finalize So-Called Living. Sorry, the So-Called Living Jack's story. It's not going to end So-Called Living. It's going to end Jack's story. So this whole thing about, him getting turned into a vampire and all these characters he meets and him adapting and getting in shit with the mob, like, that's all going to wrap up. So, but it's not going to end it. There's going to be threads in there for future stories that I already have planned out. There's I have backgrounds for characters that are currently in the story that have a lot more to them than you would ever suspect. And I already have their backgrounds. Like, I've had their storyline laid out before I even printed the first book. So, and so I'm leaving like little lingering threads and introducing kind of like peaks of new characters are going to come in there, and they all have an evolving storyline. But when this story ends, So-Called Living will continue, and you'll probably see those characters come back in another adventure, right? So they're going to get into another situation, and that's driven by something else. And they'll come back, they'll probably come back together for whatever, because I haven't figured out what that story is, but I do have a bunch of threads that I was like, maybe I'll go into this one, right? And I'll pull on this thread and see what happens. So I'm excited to keep that world going. But I also have actually what's going to happen in between, which I don't mind saying because I still have a lot to figure out, is I want to do a kid's book in the So-Called Living world that is going to be, I'm trying to figure out how I want to do it. Do I want to do it like a 3 or 4 year old's first comic? Do I want to do it more like a traditional kids book? Do I maybe a hybrid of the two? And then it's like and it's going to be totally kid friendly, but it's clearly going to be in that world. And I've already set, there is an incident that happens in one of these 4 books that kicks off the kid's story. And for the kids book, I've already planted it in there. So, and nobody's going to know what point that was until they read the kids book, and they'll be like, oh, I was like, I think a lot of people will be like, clever. I think that's what you're going to get. So it's going to be interesting. I'm not going to say anymore. But I'll probably start that at some point.
That's interesting. Maybe. So, yeah. That's an interesting thread to go with too, because like, especially if you go the kids book route, that's completely different. Yeah, altogether. Like you're tackling a whole new thing.
Well, because the way I look at it is like, if you think of because I think of like So-Called Living as a living world, right? And like, all the people are thrown together are like, they're badasses or smart mouths or fucking just good guys and assholes. They're all kind of thrown together. But like, that's like our world. We have those people and those are groups. But then in that same world, in our world, there's also like innocent kids and you know what I mean? Having their innocent lives. So that's why this story is going to exist. It's clearly going to be, when you see it, there'll be no doubt it's in the So-Called Living world. But it's definitely going to have that innocence of, so it's going to follow, there's a new child character and it's going to have an innocence of that. And he's going to interact with the world. Not necessarily these characters. Actually, there's one character that I'm thinking of kind of slipping in there. They're one of the new characters that show up in these last 4, and I was kind of like making a little cameo in the kids book. And also having, I was also thinking of having the idea book ends. You know, when movies end, there's the credits, and then like in Marvel movies, there's the end scene. So I want to have that in the kids book where when it ends, there's the credits, and then I have an extra bonus page, and that bonus page is going to have one panel. I have it in my head already. That's going to do something in that one panel. It's going to tie right back to the last book in this story.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's going to be like book. I'm trying to remember the event that feeds into the kids book. It's book 6. Book 6 feeds into the kids book. So like it kicks that off, and then at the end of the kids book, it donates to book 8. So it's like the events of the children's book happens between book 6 and book 8.
That's that's really cool. I can't think of anyone else in the indie space, at least, that's done that.
Well, and that's another part of the study is because last con I went, and I've done this before. I was like, so, there's kids, but we have nothing at our table for kids. We have nothing for them. We have plans of things we wanted to do for them, which we might still do, but like a plushie or something that we were thinking of selling at the table. But the kids book, that would be a good one. And this really came to light on the last con I was at, where it was like a two day con. Yeah, Saturday did really well. And I was like, this is great. Sunday was not as busy, and the people who were there were mostly kids, and so-called living is not for kids. And even when little kids come to the table, I was like, I don't even know how to sell this to you. You know what I mean? Like how to tell you the story. So I feel guilt. I was like, I don't even want to do well. I don't want to do well because I think I do pretty good at the table.
Yeah.
I do pretty good at the table where like I've definitely sold the books to people that were not interested. They were just looking, and I managed to talk them in, and they bought it. And some of those people came back and like the next year and be like, I love the book. And I was like, I made a fan. Like, but I've definitely done that. Like, you have to have that. I guess there's like a certain skill. I don't know what it is, but I've been lucky enough to hit on that and reel people in and get bread on the table, and they buy, even though I know they weren't going to buy. But I can't do that to the kids. I feel like dirty. I was like, I can't do that. So, like these two boys were there, and I was like, actually, I think one of them was a girl, but I couldn't tell. Like they were in costumes, and they both had like similar length hair as me now, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that age where little boys and little girls can look very much the same if they especially if they both they're in costume, you know. So I was just off the top of my head, I was like, "Welcome to the table, gentlemen." And then the one looked up, and I was like, "Oh, you're a girl, aren't you?" But I was like, I could tell by the look in their face. I was like, well, it's done now.
Yeah, it's all over now.
But he wasn't even thinking, because you're talking to so many people, and you just bounce back and forth. But but I'd like to have something to offer to kids and be like, hey, but we have this. Hey, parents, look, we have a kids book. It's adorable.
The first thing that comes to mind is not connected to any comic per se, but I know Comics Tribe does like the C for Cthulhu series, where they're just doing Cthulhu plushies for like little kids. Yep. And then I like in my head when you're talking about it, I'm like, yeah, what goes better than like a nice a kid's book, like one of those cardboard kids books, or the gold bound kids books, and then a plushie alongside of it.
Yeah, plushies are what we were looking at potentially making, if we can find the right manufacturer. And we were thinking of making bunny plushies, and I've already designed a few. I designed them last year, actually.
Yeah.
But I've been so tied up with like day job, YouTube channel, writing the comic book, then baby. Yeah. Then it was like, well, we're just going to put those on the back burner for now.
That feels like a thing too. Like you do that, it'll be successful. And then you come back for the trade down the line, and you have all these bunny plushies. And even the people who maybe already got the book will want the plushie too, that maybe didn't want the kids' book, or,
If I can get the plushies to feel and look the way I've designed them, I don't want to share yet.
Yes.
But they are going to be freaking adorable. So I already have like how I'm going to market them at the booth. I want to have like a hammock hung, like typical basket weave hammock, like with ropes, and I want to have them hung from the ceiling, or an arm, which I'll probably have to get because the cons won't let me drill into the ceiling. So I hung from an arm, and I just want to have this. It almost looked like a trap, like just like came up and just captured all these fluffy bunnies, and I could just reach into that net and grab them and like sell them to people. I think that would be like an awesome way to present it.
And also, who in that con isn't like, what's going on over here? And
Yeah.
they're going to walk towards it.
So that is definitely something we want to do. We might actually look at the same manufacturers that we got doing the box to do that. And the I was about to say, like, the box is the one thing we're not getting printed in Canada, because the cost of getting that box printed in Canada is astronomical. It would have been probably more or the same amount of what we've done what has cost us for like the entire series, pretty much. Like it's ridiculous. I could have bought a car. Like how much they want to charge me to make these boxes. And I was like, are you making these things by hand? What the hell? Like that's ridiculous. Are you drawing each cover by hand? Are you like ironing it out? Like this is chopping down each tree and just throwing away the extra bits. Like what are you doing? Like the cost was ridiculous. Like per unit of the boxes was going to be almost the exact same amount I would charge for the box with all 8 books in it. Crazy.
Wow.
Crazy. So
Yeah.
it's not getting printed in Canada. So
with that, I mean, you've printed all the issues in Canada, right?
yeah, all the issues I got printed in Canada, and that was great, and I will continue to do that. So that'll still continue. But for some reason, we can do books at a decent price, but not boxes.
Yeah.
So
Well, as a Canadian, like, was that something important to you going into it? Like, I want to make sure that I do as much of this in-house or in my home country as possible.
it wasn't. It's personally no. It's not, like, to be honest, it's not important to me.
Okay.
But it is important to a lot of people, a lot of Canadian people, a lot of fans. So because it's important to them, that's important to me. But personally, like, I buy things all the time that aren't made in Canada, and so does everybody else. I think they just don't like wake up to that. It's like, most of the stuff you buy isn't made here. Like, some people will be like, oh, I support this product because they're Canadian. I'm a hero. Yeah, okay, so 1% of the things you own in your house was Canadian because you bought it. It's like, that doesn't erase the fact that you bought all this other stuff manufactured in like China or Vietnam or the States, wherever. Like but that's fine. Like world commerce is like everybody's buying from each other, and it's like up high. It's the world leaders causing all these problems.
Yes.
Like us as like consumers, like there's little businesses everywhere trying to like make money, and like we want to be able to sell around the world, and we want them to buy our stuff, but yet there's a group of people that get insulted if you don't support local. It's like, yeah, I do support local, and I support all these other businesses that are around the world, because if you sold something, you want somebody in like in Asia to buy your stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Like, why wouldn't you? So it's this, it goes both ways. Like, they're buying our stuff, we're buying their stuff, whatever. But no, the books get printed in Canada, and but like, and I'm proud to be Canadian. I'm happy. It's great that it did. But at first, I was like, I don't know where I'm going to get these things printed. Do I have to go to China? Like, when I was first looking into this, because people were giving me their costs, and I was like, that's ridiculous. That's so expensive. And but what I realized is most of them were like digital. They're digital printings, where I'm not doing digital printing. I'm doing like the traditional offset press printing.
Okay.
So that's how I get my cost low, but I have to get a large amount. So that was the difference. So yeah, but it's one good thing about being in Canada is shipping's shipping's less than if I was to get it anywhere else. Because I do know somebody who got their books from China. They paid a lot less, but after they added shipping, which was a crazy amount, it was almost the same cost as printing the books. It came out to pretty much the same. Like,
yeah,
it wasn't a huge difference.
And then you run the risk of it getting stuck in transit too.
Yeah. So yeah. I'm more happy to be able to, like, if it makes the fans happy that it's in Canada, then yeah, I'll print it in Canada.
I mean, I would say when I can, I try to buy American, but like, I'm with you. Like, I understand that this t-shirt I'm wearing, this hat I'm wearing, the computer we're currently talking through is made all over the place, but when you can. Yeah, I'll throw my money into an American
Yeah,
company.
I'm all up for
You know,
helping, like it's like little businesses and indies and things like that.
yeah.
But
But I'm not gonna stick my nose up at somebody for. I mean, that just seems ridiculous. You can't live in this world and live that way.
no. And again, it's if you kind of have to really look back, and it's like, oh, you should support your country. And I was like, I do, but like, where did you buy your shoes? Where'd you buy your sweater? I bet you bought them in Canada, but they weren't made here.
Yeah,
So, and a lot of the companies that you buy from here are actually American-owned companies that have stores here. So, but I'm not saying you not to, because the people working at the departments, the stores, at the whatever, they are Canadian people. And if those businesses keep making money, those employees keep making money. They have jobs. So it's not as it's important to like support companies that are like online. It's a little trickier, right? Because like who's getting this money? Like I don't know, because they don't have to pay employees. But when you go to stores, if that store is in Canada and you're keeping that store in business, then you're keeping those people employed.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So it's like the money is still going into this country because it's going back to those employees. So you are still keeping people employed. So keep spending as long as you're spending in the country, in most cases, that money is going to go to Canadians.
Yeah.
In some form or another.
A funny version of that is the company I work for, and my day job is a Canadian company. But I guess your government told them they were too big. So they spun off and created an American division that they incorporated in America, and then just started going nuts over here. And I get people all the time. It's like, well, it's nice, to support an American company and all that. And I just kind of smile. I'm like, yeah, great. Great traditional American company. I definitely don't get my check from Toronto.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I work in the video game industry, and that's very much a global industry.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and it was funny when there was a point here during the whole stupid tariffs thing where people were like, don't buy American. And they were like, yeah, we're not buying anything American anymore. We're not doing that. And I was like, so I sat at I was sitting at the table with some of these people. And I was like, okay, because we're video game people. I was all right. So you're not buying any more video games. You're only buying like games from like Ubisoft, right? That like, well, no. Like, oh, I see. So video games get a pass.
Yeah.
And I was like, and you have to give video games a pass because if you want to buy anything, if you want to play anything, like there's great games made in Canada, but there's great games made all over the world. And a lot of them are American, so a lot of the games you're going to be playing are made in America. There are games made here. We have tons of video game studios in Canada, so there's like lots of great games here.
But yeah, you have an amazing scene up there.
Yeah, so it's funny to be like, yeah, see, so you give a pass because you got to think of it. It's like these companies are hiring now, especially when they're hiring remote. So they could be in the States, but they're hiring people from all over the world working remote to work with them, right? Like I'm working remote from my studio, mind you. The studios actually, I think their main office is Toronto, but the people are split up between London, Ontario, and Toronto. So it's not like I didn't go too far. Yeah. Actually, I live just down the street from like the owner of the company. So, but it's just interesting because like, yeah, video games, it's a global thing. And like, I want to support other people that do the same thing I do as well. And like, I don't care that they work in the States or if they work in China or if they work in Germany or wherever the hell they work. Like, it's like, you're like me. You just don't speak, maybe you don't speak the same language, but we do the same things. We're game designers, we're artists, we're programmers, and we're just out there trying to make good games. So I should support you because like, I want to support my own. And I look at my own as my industry. Right? Yeah. So,
and those people in different scenarios, different worlds, they could have a different perspective that tell a different kind of story, which is really important. Like it's, getting those stories out there is huge. I mean, I've loved seeing, I follow PlayStation a lot in the video game space, and I love seeing them putting money into India and China and all these different places and being like, here's some money, make some games. Let's see what you come up with. And they've come up with some cool stuff. People don't even realize it's coming from these places. So, yeah. Well, I guess we should talk a little bit about So-Called Living, the Kickstarter. I mean, I love talking about everything else, but you've said a few times, but you've got So-Called Living issues 5 to 8, yes, on Kickstarter right now, concluding the the saga of at
Mm-hmm.
least the first volume of So-Called Living. For those that may not be, if the two people that didn't back it before, what's the book all about?
The so-called living is like the opening spiel is about a guy named Jack who gets turned into a vampire, and then he needs to learn to adapt to this new way of living. And this is all taking place in a world where the extraordinary is ordinary. And so, like the first issue he comes into, like the first problem he has is he can't get into his apartment because now that he's a vampire, he can't be invited in, and so there's nobody to invite him into his own apartment. And his whole complex got like a no vampire thing, so he's homeless. He's like a homeless vampire. That's how it starts off. And so it's he deals with these mundane problems in the beginning, like these silly, like learning to live with all these new rules of being a vampire. Like I can't go out in the daylight, which is the first thing he does. On the first day, he wakes up and walks out into the sun and catches fire. So he needs to figure this out, and the fact that he can't really eat anything properly because now he's a vampire, so all he feeds off is blood. And so he needs to like figure this stuff out, and he calls on his friends for help. And they're like idiots. They're fun, but they're like fun idiots. So they're not much help to him. But while he's trying to get his life together, the mob gets wind of this new baby vampire in town, and they're very interested, and not in a good way. So now you got this scenario where it's like the cast of Friends being hunted down by the cast of The Sopranos. So Jack and his crew, they're the Friends crew, and they're sarcastic. They make little funny jokes and they poke fun at each other. Then the mob guys are very serious and they don't fuck around. They don't make jokes. So they're basically, that's where the scenario comes in of Sopranos hunting down the Friends. Now that's the overall story. Oh, and there's also this kind of like overarching world story of bunnies. So in this world full of monsters, everybody's biggest concern is this bunny crisis. And it's kind of happening in the background. And you'll notice more and more, especially in these next 4 issues, that bunny crisis comes closer to home. So while Jack is trying to get his life together, the mob is hunting him down, and this global bunny crisis. And when I say bunny crisis, like bunnies are terrifying in this book. You don't know what they do, but you know it's bad. Because everybody else in the world is like terrified of them. There's like military groups put together to like deal with the situation, and you get snippets of that throughout the books, throughout the 4, as you go on through the 4 books, you get a little bit of it, and then when you get to books 5, 6, 7, 8, you see more and more of them. Like you see a lot more of them, and so all the stories start colliding, and when the stories collide, actually you kind of get an idea of what's going to happen in the cover of the variant covers, the elite covers for books 5 and 6. It's the Virgin double spread, the one that has no logo on it.
Yep.
So that kind of gives you a sense of like the chaos that's going to ensue. So, and so that's that. Yeah, 5. It's 5. 5 is where it really starts to, the worlds really start to come together more. So like you started, I think in issue 4, things started. That's when things started touching. The tips started touching. You know, the new the new vampire and the old vampires and the mob. They start like they get close. That's when they start getting close, and the action picks up in issue 4, and then from that point on, things really start kicking off, and it's gonna get to a point where like the characters you knew, you're gonna see another side of them that you didn't before. And without giving anything away, I'll just throw generics out there, like the like soft side of the hard guys, and the brave side of the cowards, and and because they're gonna be thrown to like serious situations, like shit is gonna get fucked up for them so bad, and they're gonna get in it deep, and they have to deal with it. So it even comes to points where it's like you can't make jokes all the time. Like there's certain chunks of it where there's no joking. It's like it's shit so real. There's no jokes. You just have to deal with it, and you're thrown into it. And then you come out of that a bit with a bit more humor, and they start getting their stuff together, and it gets serious again. But yeah, more so than any of the other books, you're gonna see them thrown into some very tense situations that they've never been involved in before. Not everybody's necessarily going to make it out. That's probably that's one of the covers is like who's going to make it out alive is one of the covers. I think that's one of the, I have like text on one of them. I don't remember exactly what I wrote, but that was kind of like the premise.
Don't miss the action-packed finale.
Oh yeah, this is who will make it out alive.
Yeah.
This is who will make it out alive. Don't miss this action-packed finale. So, yeah. And, that cover actually that you're reading that on, you'll notice an interesting thing where it's like there's a girl with guns on Nick's back, and Nick's got this thing on his face, and all that whole thing, all of that's happening there, all ties into the story. And you kind of look at that cover, you're like, how did you get here? Like looks like a serious like firefight, like shit show. Like where did the like I'm sitting in a pile of fries fun go? Like it's like the covers are starting to get very like you can tell. It's like this seems it has a different vibe from it.
Yeah.
But
you do that really cool homage cover that I think fits the whole bunny background story really well too. At for issue 7. And then I always enjoy this because of how you handle it. The obligatory sex pot covers, you're still doing those. Those seem to be a fan favorite.
They do. It's interesting because they do well at different shows. So the elite covers are always down the middle. They're always like people want to either get the guest covers. If one of the guest artists, because some local guys, if they're at the show, then the elite covers sell well because they want to get them signed by the guest artist. Because those are limited runs, so there's only 500 of those, and once they're gone, I'm not printing those again, so they'll be gone. The standards do well at like your typical cons, but the sex pot ones, when I go to like a horror con, that's what everybody's buying. They're like, I want the sexy ones. Like it's because the horror cons are all full of these like these B movies of like people getting slaughtered and like the scream girls and like that's what the whole scene is like. So when I go there, I'm like one of the few comic book tables there. There's only ever 2 comic book tables there. It's me and one other guy that we always show up, and they see it and they love like the zombie girl cover. Where it's like the zombie girl coming out of the pool.
Mm-hmm.
They love that one, so they're like, "Oh, we'll buy these ones." And they literally come over to the table, and they're like, "We want your big boob cover, please." And I explained to everybody, just so you know, there's nothing sexy in these comics. I was like, that's why the badge is there. It's more like a Kickstarter thing, where if you want to get people's attention, you have to have a sexy cover on Kickstarter. So that's why we did it. And eventually I'll update the banner to showcase like a sexy cover on the banner of the Kickstarter page, just to see, who it pulls in. And that's all literally because based on my research on Kickstarter, right? There's the top selling books, like large majority of them, it's like 13 in a row, are like Lady Death, which is like a big boobed version of Death. Right. And, that's mostly what it is. It's like softcore porn. Or people in situations where they're like half naked firing laser guns or whispering around magic. That's what sells. So my wife was the one that had the idea. She's like, why don't you make sexy covers? And I was like, because there's nothing sexy about this. It's about the book. And that's why I put the obligatory sex thing, because like, oh, that kind of goes in with the humor of the book, because that's like the guys being like, yeah, we have nothing sexy in them, but people like it, so here you go. And if you're on Kickstarter, you need to have it. So that was why I put it. I'd make it feel better, but there's a bit of me that's like, I need to be honest with people and tell them, so that I feel that's my way of being honest with people. It's like, this is why I'm doing it.
No, I think from moment one when we talked about it with issue 1 and 2, I've liked that idea. Like, it's just, I'm not the sexy cover fan, but putting the badge on it that's just like, this is the obligatory, like, we have to do this or we're doing it thing. And then having fun with them too, because you've always done them in a way that's like fun and kitschy in a way.
Yeah. And then this one around, like, actually there is one character, the bunny girl. She's issue 6, I believe. She's she is the only character on the Sexpot cover that she will be a character that looks like that in the book. She's the only one, and she makes a little cameo. And the way her looking like that is part of the mystery of like what's going on.
Nice.
So she does show up.
Tying things together.
Yeah, the costume's slightly different, but it's very close to that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I always tell people this book, like, it's a fun, if you like, you know, Universal monsters, zombies, like werewolves, that stuff. It's that kind of book, but it's got like a fun comedic edge to it. Almost like a Seth Rogen action comedy movie, where I assumed at some point, I know at the end of issue 4 you got a little more serious. So when you're saying it's going to get like more action, more serious near the end, I'm like, yeah, that's how those comedy movies go. Like joke, tell the story, and then maybe a few jokes at the end to like wrap it all up. And you got the perfect artist to do it with you too. I mean, he does the physical moments in the book so well. Yeah, just all around, I think it's a great product, man.
Thank you, Marco Leone. Yeah, he did a great job. He's got the great like expressionism about how he draws, right? Like, and that's what I was looking for when I was looking for like the right artist. Like I've always said, like I always pictured this being done by Roberto Ramos. And I actually wrote him a letter because like when I couldn't find an artist, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna reach out. No response. Not surprising. But I was like, what does it hurt? You know, maybe this is gonna be one of those stories where like, so I reached out to Roberto Ramos and he said yes.
And I at least got a cover out of it. That would be great.
So yeah, I've tried to at least get a cover out of him since I reached out, but he's just never responds.
So like even the page you got up there with the zombies walking around the TV van, it's just like, it's funny just how he draws them, and like, you know, he gives them a Batman shirt that's not a Batman shirt for, I'm sure, reasons. And like, I don't know, it just works in the physical moment of the book. Like it you don't have to read the story to see the comedy of it.
Yeah, his it's like it matches the voice of the comic book. So the way I write matches the way he draws. So it comes across the story, because I think if this was drawn like a Mark Millar book, it wouldn't match my tone. Then I think you'd get this weird, like, it's so serious looking.
Yeah,
it's got a weird, like, kind of not a serious tone. Like, I love Mark Millar; he's one of my favorite writers. What I'm saying is like and the artists he uses are great, but there's a certain like tone to art match. You know, like the voice and the visuals have to kind of like sync up. It's like Mike Tyson effect, right? You see Mike Tyson for the first time, you're like, wow, he's a big guy, and he talks, he sounds like a squeak toy, and you're like, wow, that's not what I expected. And it's a little off-putting at first till you get used to it. And that's the thing, it's like when a comic book, they kind of have the same effect. You get these visuals, you're like, okay, cool, it's gonna be dark and it's gonna be gritty, and you read it, and if they start popping off little jokes, you're like, it's off-putting at the start. So for me, it was very important that they matched, and Malcolm did a great job.
And that's why comedy's so hard in comics too.
Yeah.
So everybody, the Kickstarter is live. It's currently funded, but that doesn't mean you can't still support it and get it even higher. Mark, I guess before we take off here, anything else you want to say about the series, the book, out to the audience? Any last pitch?
This is you got to check it out because it's the best reward tiers we've ever offered. You know what I mean? We're doing the best we can to offer the best deals possible for floppies. So, because we want the book to get into people's hands. So like, check them out. That first tier is a great deal. All of the tiers are a great deal. And if you haven't, like, this is the final chapter, but if you've missed the other ones, we've got some great packages to get all 8 books. So
yeah,
like you can get 1 through 8 in the whatever covers collection you want. So we have them offered in standard, elite, and the Sexpot ones if you want the sexy versions.
And when I say to people, if you're like me and you're a cover A kind of guy, which is what I am, full story, books 1 through 8, standard covers, US dollars, $46. Come on. That's a little bit over $5 a book for a lot of titles these days. That's a good price for an indie title. That is an amazing price. So definitely,
And you get a
check
free
that out.
collector's box.
Yes. And if you are unsure, or maybe you want to sample the book before you put your money down, I'll put this link down below, but it's also on the Kickstarter page. Get on your Global Comics account. You can get the first issue for free. And check it out, read it, see if it's for you. Mark, it's been just such an absolute pleasure. Real quick, where do you want to send people? Do you do social media? Any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, you can follow like So-Called Living pretty much anywhere. We started some new accounts on like X, which actually new account. We opened an account that we closed, like whatever. But look at So-Called Living pretty much everywhere, and it's us. So Instagram, X, Facebook, not YouTube. YouTube, we haven't done anything. But if you do like board games, go check out Board Game Coffee. That's a separate little pitch, but yeah.
Yeah. And to everybody out there, check out the show notes down below for all those links. Most importantly, the Kickstarter link, but also to Mark's social media, to that Global Comics, so you can get a free comic. I mean, how often do I end this until you can get a free comic, everybody? There you go. So yeah, Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. Best of luck with the series, and I just can't wait to talk to you about that kids book moving forward.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, brother. It's been always great.